The AI boom isn't just changing technology, it's redrawing the map of the world. And one of the most important parts of that map is somewhere that most business leaders never think about: the seabed. Almost all of our intercontinental internet traffic travels through undersea cables, not satellites or the cloud. We're talking about physical cables lying across the ocean floor, carrying the data that powers banking, logistics, cloud computing, AI communications, trade, and just about every modern business system that we depend upon. And now those cables are being rerouted because AI needs huge volumes of data moving between data centers located in different countries. And because geopolitics has made some of the world's most important waters more complicated and riskier. For decades, the cables connecting Asia, Europe, and Australia tended to hug the ocean coastline before they headed through the Red Sea and off towards Europe. That meant passing through places like the Strait of Malacca and the South China Sea. And that route made a lot of sense when the goal was to be efficient, to connect up population centers and keep the costs down and to move the data quickly. But the economics have really changed. Historically, these cables were built by large telecoms consortia, with the routes being shaped by where the customers were. But now, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and other hyperscalers are helping to build, fund, and control the infrastructure themselves. And they're building it to connect up data centers, not just cities. So the logic changes. If you're building a cable to support AI infrastructure, speed and capacity do still count, but so do security, resilience, and political risk. And that's why more cables are being routed away from contested waters and choke points, and instead going across the Indian and Pacific Ocean. So think Oman to Australia, or the Middle East to Christmas Island, or Australia through the Pacific Islands and then onto America, or Guam as a hub for connections between American allies in Asia. And this is where international business and politics start to collide. Private companies are making infrastructure decisions based on geopolitical risk. They're looking at where governments might delay repairs or impose local rules or extract fees or restrict access or use infrastructure as leverage. For a long time, companies treated politics as something happening around business. The commercial logic was always first: lowest cost, fastest route, biggest market, most efficient supply chain. Now, political risk is baked into the infrastructure itself. So the South China Sea is the obvious example here. China claims vast areas through its 9-dash line, and even where it doesn't fully control the surface, it has a lot of influence over the seabed. If a cable needs repair in a politically sensitive area, that can be a matter of government approval. And the same logic really applies to choke points like the Strait of Malacca and the Indonesian Straits. As digital infrastructure becomes more important, governments are going to look harder at how to regulate it, tax it, control it, or just use it for strategic advantage. And that has direct consequences for international business payments, logistics platforms, remote work, e-commerce, supply chains, and customer service systems, because they all depend on connectivity that runs through real places in real countries with real political interests. So when a company says it's going global, it's taking on the infrastructure and political risks behind the markets it's in. This is where Australia gets really interesting. So Australia is becoming part of a new corridor linking the Middle East, India, Asia, the Pacific, and the US. And that creates opportunities in data centers, cloud infrastructure, AI, cybersecurity, professional services, a whole bunch of stuff. It also means that Australia needs to think seriously about subsea cable protection, energy supply, its relationships in the Pacific, defence cooperation, cybersecurity, data rules, and approvals for new data centres. For Aussie businesses, the lesson here isn't to become experts in undersea cables. It's really that international strategy now has to include political infrastructure risk. So if your business depends on global cloud platforms, or you use AI tools, you have international customers or offshore teams or digital supply chains, this is now part of your operating environment. The ocean floor might feel a long way from the boardroom, but the next phase of global business is being shaped there. And if you're finding these rants useful, subscribe. This is episode 31, and the point of the series is really simple: to help business leaders like you make sense of the political and economic shifts that are changing how international business actually works. So if you're building a business across borders or advising companies that are, subscribe and follow along.